Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PanelCast, or welcome to your doom. That's what I felt like I was saying there. We are Forbidden Panel. With me this week is Richard, Joey, and Justin. Hello, guys.
Greetings.
How's it going?
I am AJ sometimes. This week, as usual. And this week we have a few news stories we want to come at you with. We're going to talk about the latest Avengers cast list releasing, as well as some other casting stuff that we saw.
I think that's still going on, right? It's still going on now. They're still adding names to that cast.
Yeah, they're still adding to it. So everybody that's getting upset about the names that have not been announced yet, they all need to take a chill pill. But we're going to go over and discuss that here in a minute. We're also going to be talking about Beathar, this new figure. I don't know what to call it, but Richard will be going through it in full detail with some photos and stuff about what that is. Justin's got a couple books that he's going to rattle off about, and Joey's just going to sit there and look pretty. So, welcome to everybody tonight to the PanelCast. How are you guys, my fellow hosts? How are you guys doing this week?
Old and in pain. I wish California weather it wanted to have.
Yeah. It is very bipolar out here in California this week. We started off the week covered in rain, and all of a sudden, somehow, I got a sunburn.
Right. And now we're dealing with rain again.
Right. Now it's raining again. It's Silent Hill weather outside. So I don't know what next week will bring. I think we're going to have locusts.
Was there a lot of fog by you? Is that why you were saying that?
Yeah. Our area was all Silent Hill outside. You couldn't see anything.
It's been gray here, but we haven't had any fog or anything. Well, maybe on the other side of the hill in the morning, but I'm not there.
It would be more creepier over there. Isn't that where all the burn areas are?
I mean, well, no, yeah, that's a different area. Well, I guess that's true. No, the Palisades, yeah, I guess that would be creepy. But they always have fog, though. That's just the marine layer.
It probably looked like a scene out of the gorge.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's get things started, shall we? Let's chat about the Avengers cast listing, guys. How many of you guys saw this coming out this week?
Well, happening.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it. I just watched the full YouTube video. Well, not the full video, but a highlight thing of it this afternoon.
I watched the whole thing all day just to make sure I knew,
Right.
But this was already after it was finished, so I could have just looked at a summary. But
yeah, that's what I did.
Experience it. No, it's a cool gimmick. I admit that it was a fun gimmick, but I wasn't going to watch that. So, but yeah, that cast is pretty beefy.
Yeah,
they came out with a little bit of a. I believe they were at some show this weekend where they had a lot of the cast come out, talk about it and stuff. I didn't catch all the highlights or anything that went from that, but I did. One thing that was evidently clear was that they said, we're not done announcing the full cast.
Yeah.
We're just giving you guys, a little chum in the water to get you hungry. We got the full meal coming up in a little bit.
I mean, they pretty much listed the entire Marvel universe and the previous, the X-Men universe. Who else are they going to add?
Well, there's still more of the side characters that they didn't add from the previous universe, Claw and all that stuff.
People from the TV shows.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they got to get the Agents of Shield in there. Daredevil.
Yeah, so who knows? Plus, they didn't mention anything about any of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they didn't mention anything about Doctor Strange either, and I know for sure he's going to be in it.
Or Deadpool, Wolverine, any of that stuff going on. Elizabeth Olsen. They're not talking about Allison Brie, whether Captain Marvel's going to be in there or not. Even though we know, we know this is a crossover event, so she'll probably have it show up at some point. Um,
They're just going to be walking
speculation.
down the street, high-fiving other superheroes. There's so many of them in this movie. They're just
Right. The spandex companies are going to be flowing, like they're going to be rolling in money right now.
I would kind of almost rather see them introduced in a trailer or a teaser trailer than the way they've done it. Like, I get it, you're trying to build anticipation and everything, but I think it would come off better to the audience in like a teaser or in an actual scene from the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would. It was a good. It was a fun gimmick for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it really wore out its welcome.
I bet they filmed that empty chair sequence anyway, just because they couldn't get everybody off on the same day.
Right.
No, probably.
Which is how filming is going to be with it anyway, because everybody's just going to come out. I mean, that's how the last one was done. Nobody was in the same room filming at any point in time, especially during that last sequence when everybody was fighting.
Right.
They filmed that over several different days with several different casts. So I'm sure it's going to be the same way, because I mean, there's just not an auditorium big enough for the whole cast and crew.
That's a problem when you have successful films. People get busy.
I know.
Yeah.
Damn it. That's why we are always doing this, because we're never busy and because we're not successful.
Dropping stuff.
Well, that when there's so many people involved, it's just a logistical nightmare, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right. Now, we all heard how the Russo brothers said that they weren't going to come back to Marvel after they did the previous Avengers films, and now here they are again.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've heard that from various people, and they
just threw so much money at them and Robert Downey Jr. They were just like, here, just come back.
One thing Disney has is resources.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised at all, especially with the failure that was the Electric War.
The Electric Boogaloo.
State.
Right.
Electric State.
Electric Boogaloo was successful. What are you talking about?
we still remember that.
Right. Even so much so, here we are, decades later, quoting the Electric Boogaloo.
I mean, anything too. Anytime I hear so and so too, in my head, it's always Electric Boogaloo. Always.
Yeah. So I don't know where we're going with that, but there's some speculation. So I wanted to address a couple of things. First off, the fact that we have Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen showing up leads to at least some sort of with Rebecca Romijn and Alan coming back as Nightcrawler, James Marsden putting on the glasses again as Cyclops,
Kelsey Grammer.
That tells us we're going to get some sort of variation within the first X-Men batch of films, but no mention of James McAvee or any of the other cast from the new class. So I'm wondering how that's going to happen. Also conspicuous by its absence is any mention of the cast members from the New Mutants, which is supposed to be part of that as well.
Yeah.
And having Anya Taylor, whatever her name is.
Joy.
Yeah. She's a hot name right now. And putting her into that cast list would you're already guaranteed millions, but adding some of those cast members into the list would, excite us even more. I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's too much. I think there's too many already. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to wipe everyone out pretty quick. I think it's a whole thing. I think it's a whole thing to clear the slate so they can introduce the new X-Men. And yeah, I think it's going to be like an Avengers versus X-Men thing, and reality is going to get wiped out, and a whole bunch of characters are going to get just wiped off the slate. And it's just a theory I have, but
it makes sense.
I'm going kind of the opposite way, because the way that they've been showing the new Thunderbolts trailers, I'm thinking once everybody's memories come back as to the Sentry and that storyline, we're going to see new timelines show up.
See, I know nothing about the Sentry, so I have no idea what's going on with that.
Yeah, me either.
The Sentry was this dual being. He had the power of 1,000 suns on one side of his personality, and on the other side, he was the Void. You see him in the trailers where he's taking people into shadows, burning them into shadows. Yeah. So, in order for the Illuminati to get rid of the ultimate villain that was the Void, they had to wipe not only the Sentry's memory, because he was a dual personality, but they had to wipe the memory of every human being in the galaxy of the Sentry, like they did with Spider-Man at the end of No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
So in the comics. So I think that in the comics, when he comes back and they finally remember him, all the flashbacks come back, and that's where you get like the Ultimates timelines and all these other timelines that come back, because he had some way of dealing with it. And I think that's how they're going to use it to introduce the Fantastic Four into that timeline, seeing how everything we're seeing on the Fantastic Four has a retro vibe to it. And how the Fantastic Four is always already feeling like they're fitting into the MCU, like they belong there, like they've been there, That's my theory. I could be looking too much into it. I could be overthinking. I got nothing to do at home, and I do a lot of this. So,
yeah, I think Fantastic Four, I think their reality is going to get wiped out by Galactus, and they're going to escape and end up on Battle World. And I just think they're going to wipe out all the old X-Men, probably most of the older Avengers, and then just start fresh. Because I think it's just too.
They can just erase what's present and bring back.
That's pretty much what the Secret War, the newer Secret War comic did.
Yeah.
Just kind of cleaned house.
I think at the very end of the movie, they're just going to have one big barbecue. That's all they're there for.
I'll go out for shawarma.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We still got a while to theorize.
Yeah.
It just now started production, so
yeah. That's the unfortunate thing, is that we have a lot of time for speculation and thoughts, and there's going to be mad theories on. It's going to Star Wars the shit out of everything,
right?
Or you just don't think about it, and it'll come eventually.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm okay with that, but we're going to get inundated with all this trailer crap, and everywhere we go, Joey. So some of it will be avoidable, some of it won't. I'm hoping to avoid everything. I just want to see the movie. But being as what we do, especially here on the show, we may have to come across it and talk about it at some point. And I hope it doesn't spoil the movie for me.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We went to the movies this weekend, and on every trailer, me and my wife identified where the trailer should stop, and then it went on for like another minute. So it's just like this would be great here. Nope, it's still going. Oh, look, this is
the common thing they're doing in trailers nowadays, and I know it's because they've made them longer, and they add more to help sell the movie. I understand why they've done it, but I think teasers are more than enough nowadays, because everything's all over social media. We get inundated with so much of the information that they reveal way too much about movies in the trailers nowadays.
Yeah, you can get a lot in 15 seconds now, and that's all you really need to get people on things like TikTok. 15 seconds, 30 seconds, you're pushing it any further than that.
I think it's annoying how much we get from trailers nowadays, and
Yeah, there is a tendency to overshow. That's been coming for a long
it's the age of instant gratification. That's all it is. People just don't have the patience to wait for the actual movie to come out, so they want to have something to do and complain about until it does come out. And
Can you think about like what Aliens, the original Alien, would be like? The trailer nowadays, we had already seen what the fucking xenomorph looks like before. All that
sure.
the entire suspense built about that movie.
Yeah, you would have seen the chest burster scene.
Yeah.
In the trailer,
The entire stigma of that movie would have been gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
we would have already had posters of Sigourney Weaver hanging up on our walls.
Right?
Justin, pervert. Anyway, no, I didn't have one. Shut up.
No, you had Leia in a bikini.
No, I didn't. I had none of that.
No, I've got Leia in the bikini tattooed on me. So
See, who's the pervert now? All right.
I didn't say anyone was a pervert. Why are you accusing me?
Because you just proved yourself to be. Anyway, Justin, since we're talking to you, you have some books you wanted to mention.
Yeah. Earlier this week, I just finished the audiobook for the first Mistborn, the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. It's called The Final Empire. Have you guys ever read any of the Mistborn books?
Who's that? Is that Sanderson?
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson. Yeah.
No, I never have. I've heard lots about it, but it's one of those holes I have in fantasy.
Right.
Mistborn?
Yeah. The first book came out in 2006. I just finished the audiobook. It's really cool. It's got a cool premise. This guy, Kelsier, who's what they call a Mistborn, and they can their magic system's really cool. They ingest different metals to give them different powers, and there's mistlings who can each have like one power, but then the Mistborns have them all. And so he assembles this group of thieves to presumably steal a bunch of this super powerful metal from the Emperor, but it's really a plot to overthrow the whole government. So it's kind of like Ocean's 11-ish, with him assembling all these different thieves with all these different abilities. Mm-hmm. And then it ends up being this whole like revolution thing. And it's actually really, really cool. And nice. I had a friend of mine suggest it to me. I had never really checked it out or anything, but yeah, I just finished the first book and I thought it was really good. He trains this young girl, and she turns out to be a Mistborn, and she never knew. And she like grew up on the streets as a thief and stuff. And yeah, it's really, really cool. Really, like I said, a really unique magic system.
Yeah,
and
there's a bunch of books in that series too, right? It goes a while.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like the first main story is a trilogy, but I think that the world continues after that. Yeah.
I've heard a lot. It's been recommended plenty of times.
Yeah. I've heard Sanderson's name thrown around, but I never knew much about the actual books. So.
He finished The Wheel of Time after Robert Jordan died. And that might have been why I didn't actually get into his series at first.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. I'll check that out though.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. It is really cool. Cool fight scenes, lots of cool characters. Like the whole team of thieves he assembles. They're all like cool characters, and they all interact with each other in cool ways. And yeah, it's pretty neat.
All right.
And then the other book I actually picked up a physical copy of the new Monster Manual.
Nice. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Show it again real quick.
It is great. It's basically 5.5 edition.
Nice. Back up a little. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Right
on.
Sweet.
It's
Basically, starting last year, they came out with basically a 5.5 edition. They did the player's book first, the DM's guide, and the monster manual just came out. A lot of people complain about new editions, but I mean, they've been around 50 years and they've done like 5 editions. So, one edition every 10 years, it's not bad. New monster manual is great. The illustrations are awesome. Let me find some good ones here. But what I really like about it, this is pretty cool, of the Revenants. There it is.
Nice.
Big wall of undead.
Yeah, that's cool.
What I really like about it is that it's really a lot better organized than the last one. And they've added in a lot of multiple levels of different creatures. Like, for example, like where you just had one, let's say like one or two types of vampires. They've got like 5 now, from like very low level up to super high level. So if you wanted to run a game that was, like a gothic horror game or whatever, your players don't have to wait till they're level 10 to fight a vampire. They can fight some type of a weaker type of vampire, like at lower levels. But they've done that with a whole bunch of things, like with cultists. There's 8 different levels of cultists and bandits and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. They've made it to where, this one of the green dragon in the river. So hard to do on the opposite. I don't know if you can, how well you can see that.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's hard to show the pictures, but I can't see what I'm showing. But like they made some changes, like monsters don't use spell slots anymore, because they used to use spells just like characters do, and so it's really complicated as a DM to keep track of all that. Now they just kind of reverted back to, this monster can do this twice per day. This monster can do this 3 times per day. So, you don't have to keep track of spell slots. Like spells they have, it's all in the stat block there. They've revamped all the challenge rating system, so it's more accurate. So when you're building an adventure, you have a more accurate way of judging what monsters to make your players fight. And so for a lot of it, it's just making the DM's job a lot easier. So I'm pretty excited about using it.
I like a good monster manual.
What's that?
So I like a good monster manual.
Yeah, it's huge too, dude. It's like, how many? Almost 400 pages.
Jeez. Yeah, that is huge. Remember the old Monsters Compendium that used to
come for second edition? Yeah, the 3-ring binders. Yeah. Those were cool because you could just add them in when they put out new ones. But transporting those binders was a pain in the ass. Like if you played at your house, you were fine. But I never played at my house. I was always playing somewhere else. So you got to haul around 3 or 4 of those like 3-inch binders.
It took up a lot of space in your backpack. Yeah, it's a lot of space.
Yeah, I like the idea of being able to add, they just release new, pamphlets, so you could just add them into the binders. But yeah, carrying those things around. Another cool thing they did in the back, they've got all the charts, and all the monsters are set up by like monster type, or you can look them up by environment, or you can look them up by challenge rating, or you can look them up by regions. And so everything's, when you're in an Arctic setting, you're like, okay, I need some kind of Arctic monsters. You can go to the Arctic list and it shows you all the monsters that are in the Arctic environments and stuff. So like I said, it's a lot of stuff to make the DM's job easier, which is
sounds like a nice little spreadsheet.
yeah, for sure. So yeah,
they don't have like apps and stuff like that for that by now.
Oh, they do.
They do. It's all on D&D Beyond. Yeah.
Okay.
Wizards has their D&D Beyond, and it's all on there.
Shows you how far back I am.
Right.
But it
No,
doesn't have
I still do everything
Once you
old
got
school.
over the abacus,
you know,
then
the thing is, though, it's having the books is part of the joy of it. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got one buddy that runs everything digitally, and it's cool. I've played in a couple of games, and it's it's cool and it's easy, like on the fly. But yeah, I still like having the books and like thumbing through them and
Yeah, I've done a
and
few.
Yeah, I
all
would
that kind of
still, I would
stuff.
still,
I'm,
I think I would
I
still
played-
physically want to have the books. Hell, I still have all my
Yeah.
old books from, when we were kids. I have a big
Right,
old
yeah, same
huge
here.
bin full
I
of
have like every edition still.
I
I've
do.
played.
Yeah.
we were kids.
One, the crappy thing
Yeah.
is like they don't give you like a download code when you buy the hardcover book. You still have to buy it
Yes,
on
they,
D&D
they
Beyond.
should do that.
That's bullshit.
So I would be way more apt to like use D&D Beyond if I could just, like you used to be able to do with DVDs,
Yeah, exactly.
just
Some
just put in the
comic
download
books
code.
would do
And,
that too. That'd be
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
See, you want to talk about something old from when we were kids, like
Dice
the
bag.
old,
yeah, yep.
the old
They made some
Crown Royal
special
dice
edition
bag.
Crown Royals. I got a friend who plays, and they made some special edition Crown Royals that came in like leather bags,
Yeah,
and he picked up some of those, and so we all have like leather Crown Royal bags now for our dice.
Nice.
nice. Yeah,
So,
we
yeah,
used
those
to,
were
we used
my,
to all have those, not because somebody's mom was, used to drink a lot of Crown Royal, but because,
Yeah, we just happened to cross them. That's all it was.
yeah.
Who wants some Chivas Regal?
Yeah, so those were my new books that I've been into. I should have a new credit. I should have a new credit popping up on Audible soon, so I'm gonna do the next Sanderson book after that.
I actually started reading a new book a couple days ago, and it is called what is it called? I don't remember because I'm old. Cold Iron
Sounds like
Task.
a good book.
It's called Cold Iron Task. It's the third book in a trilogy done by James A. Butcher, who is the son of Jim Butcher, who puts out the Dresden Files. I started reading his books I like reading the sons of books, like Joel Hill and stuff,
Yeah,
because sometimes you get that familiar
Yeah,
style, but just an awesome take on it, like a different
Yeah.
take on
more
the world.
modern.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool.
Right.
I like the way so this one is kind of that same way, where you have like this dorky kid and he works for the unorthodox industries, which is like basically like the Ministry of Magic, and he's just a researcher, and he's paired with like this gruff guy, and this is his first time learning how to be like a combat wizard as opposed to like some dumbass kid working at a Pizza Hut, that would create some spells sometimes to make it look cool and try and get laid. So he's trying to learn into that thing, and all kinds of random stuff keeps happening. But I like their magic and the way that they host things, and that the way that they do things is that they have to create runes. Like they have to. For him, he likes to bind things. So this guy will go up and like bind this box to like this laptop, and then say the word bind, and then they'll stick together. Or he'll repulse them so they go away, or he'll motivate them so he can have his wheel going so he can use it as like a motorcycle and stuff like that. And he advances into higher spells, the more dangerous the people that he goes and fights with. But it's not done in like a kid way, it's more adult themed and stuff, and it's really fun.
Cool.
I'm enjoying it. So I got the third book, and I now have to surround my house with iron just to keep away all the evil spirits, and lots of salt. So I'll know next time any of you come over, if it burns while you're here, it's not just the chlamydia.
No, it won't cross the threshold.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it could be. I don't know, but
I mean, you don't know how bad the chlamydia is, so
I don't. I'm just taking a guess that if you're walking, it's not that bad.
So is this trilogy the first books he's done?
Yeah, actually, the first publishing of his books, of any of his books. So it's the first time he's been like in the big boy leagues. And like I'm reading him on Amazon right now, which I know
Mhm.
everybody's hating on, and I understand. But with Amazon, because he is who he is, sons, he didn't have to go through like the Kindle Unlimited program or the free monthly read program or any of that other stuff. Because his dad's Jim Busher, he automatically goes to the publisher list and gets put on the New York Times list and all that stuff, and just makes immediate money directly on his sales.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like, you know, he gets advertised in that same market as his dad does, and he seems to be doing pretty well, and deservedly so. I mean, they're not as good as the Dresden Files. I don't know if any of you guys are fans. I'm a huge fan of the Dresden Files, um, but it is introducing the world to a new world and a new type of way of looking at magic and the way it's done
Mhm.
with this type of series. And some of the descriptions of some of the creatures and spells that they has is just like he has the main character has a familiar named Wudge, and it has an onion for a head, an upside down onion with metallic ears and a metallic spine and a bladed tail, like a xenomorph, um, and like different strings and spools holding it together for a rib cage and hair, and
Hmm.
real intestines on the inside, and so like, and it goes into further descriptions about his claws and all the magic powers he has and everything and stuff. It's really descriptive, and I really want to see it. But it acts like a cat, and it
Wow.
plays tricks on him all the time. So, like,
That
he
sounds
just
pretty
came home from a bad case where he almost died, and all of his furniture is nailed to the roof of his house. And Butch just keeps dropping the furniture on him as he's trying to sleep in the corner. Like, drop the refrigerator on his head because he's like, no, the ramen is stored in the cabinet. So as long as the ramen doesn't get hurt, everything else is going to get tossed at you, buddy.
That sounds
So
pretty crazy.
yeah, it's pretty crazy and fun. And it's just it's something new with a familiar feel to it. So that's what I'm enjoying with it. You know?
Yeah. Right on.
It makes my brain happy.
Hmm.
If that makes sense to anybody. So shall we move on to this ridiculous freaking dragon? Or
Yeah, I gotta see this thing. Now that it's been hyped up, it better be giant.
it's enormous. It is I don't know what the exact length. I know it's at least 7 feet long. It was crowdfunded, which they got. All they asked was it's done by Four Horsemen Studios. You guys are familiar with them at all? They're the ones that do Mythic Legions.
And they did the new Masters of the Universe stuff, and
right. They're the ones who brought back the new Masters of the Universe way back, and then like do the really highly detailed statues and stuff like that. They do amazing sculpts. Amazing. They also did the the animal figures. Like they did. It's eagless, so it's this big giant American eagle. He's like a warrior, and his wings come out to a big American flag. Like I've been in love with that figure since I saw it at Comic-Con one year. I need to get one of those so bad. But their sculpting is untouchable. Like they're better than damn near any other studio out there. And so they put out this.
I have a video to show you guys.
Oh
And
yeah,
while the video's playing, Richard can keep going with his description.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Richard, but I'm
no,
just going
go
to
for it.
I wanted to describe what we're about to watch. But go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So their sculpting is untouchable, and they crowdfunded this. It was only I think it went for less than a month. and they got over 2,000 backers for it. And I mean, just look at the details in this thing. Like it's enormous. It's yeah. And realize that if they have any pictures with the action figure next to it, those are 1/12 figure scale figures, so they'd be 6-inch figures. And I don't know if they have any in this video next to it, but I mean, this thing is enormous.
Yeah, you can tell next to the people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, just look at that. Look at the size of its head next to his. Yeah. So
Shipping on it is an additional $100. It weighs like 65 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's about 7 feet in length.
It hurts you if it fell on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, honestly, it's like the size, and that's why I'm trading this. Look, and this is an optional, like the head and the fire. That was a side funded, as well as the expanded wings. That wings makes it like each one of those are like 1.5 feet. Like this thing is enormous.
And they collapse down and open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got articulation. It's right. You can.
Yeah. No, it's a second set. Just because it's so massive, I think if they articulated them, it would just under its own weight, they would eventually stop. Be so loose
it
and
was
flap around.
like it was like an umbrella, style.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, look at that, and that's with the tail wrap. This thing is just everything I've seen about it is amazing, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a 6-inch figure.
Okay.
Jeez.
It's perfect size. Yeah, it's like the perfect size for the.
It's to scale.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's one of the most amazing toys that I've seen put out in years. I mean, and to think with the detail. Now, it started at the base model is $500 or $550, I think. And that's without the extra head, the flame, and you get a couple extra figures with the 2 level. Yeah, of course, or shipping. Now for the extra head and the flames, and I think it comes with a knight. It was another $150, and then there was the wings, and they came with another knight, and that was another $150. So you're looking at like if you get every piece and everything, it comes out to probably around. I think it's like $950 or something like that before shipping. And honestly, at first I kind of scoffed at it. I was like, that's ridiculous. And the more I've seen pictures and videos, I'm like, it's kind of reasonable. I mean, for what you're getting.
Do you have to put it together? Like, you have to put, the whole thing?
But it's not like it's not like IKEA, where you got to sit there with like Swedish instructions and
it's not. I think
put it and lock it and stuff like that.
I think the only thing you're adding to it is probably the neck and the tail and the wings.
Right.
Okay.
But I think the body for the most part will come together. It's going to be nowhere as in depth as something like Jabba's sailboard. So,
I mean, if it was up to my stepdad, he would shatter this thing into a million pieces and make me put it together. But it's not. So you have to.
I think it's just one of the most impressive things I've seen in years. Like,
it's impressive. That sculpt is amazing.
Yeah.
The level of
imagine if you still had the store, that would take up like the second part of the store.
It's a crazy level of detail.
I think it's probably longer than the counter.
Yeah.
So, like, which is where it's going to display is on.
It would
take
a literal 6-foot table. You would have to donate a 6-foot table, dedicate a 6-foot table to this thing, and then decorate the 6-foot table around it.
No, man, it's closer to 7 feet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It would take up this 6-foot table with the tail curled and all that stuff.
Yeah. Imagine gaming or playing it and it being on, displayed in the background. I would just sit there and stare at it.
If you're one of those guys that like has the map and the build-ups of the game and everything, just put the dragon right in the middle and says, "Beat that bitch." Yeah. 1 million hit points. Let's go.
You better have a big table.
Me getting this is going to make me figure out how to make dioramas.
Yeah.
Right.
Luckily, all of your digital 3D printer files are for big items, so they'll be to
True
scale for
that.
the drug. But yeah, when that comes in, you should charge it rent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you would need its own room.
It's bigger
Right?
than my dog.
It needs its own HVAC system.
So yeah,
Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
just really wanted to talk about that because us being people being here D&D fans, I just thought it was impressive as hell to bring up.
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Very impressive. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Moving on to a couple more news bits here. It looks like Marvel Studios has finally found a new director for Blade.
Oh, jeez.
Basim Tariq has been hired on to take over the project. If you don't know who he is, he did the John Wick series.
Okay.
Yeah, how long is that going to last?
Yeah.
Right. Let's hope that sticks, because that would bring a lot of hope to the Blade movie. You know,
I mean, I have
know.
hope, but I mean, history is showing.
I know, much like Robert Pattinson, Mahershala Ali is getting too old to play this version of Blade anymore. You know, Robert Pattinson was saying, by the time I get done, I go to Batman 2, it'll be time for old man Batman.
Right.
Because of how long it's taken us to do this. So
Batman 2 is going to turn into Batman Beyond real quick.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
They were saying that the next animated will be Batman Beyond for that. However, let's talk about Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Shall we?
so stoked about this.
I haven't heard about this.
So Marvel Cosmic Invasion, it's going to be available. I think it's PC, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Oh, that's why I haven't heard, because I don't game.
It's a 2D side scroller in the vein of like Capcom versus X-Men, like all those old school, like everything about this looks amazing.
Okay.
It's got that old school 90s feel.
Yeah.
It's so Capcom.
This is the kind of game that would eat about $10 in quarters.
Yep.
That's cool.
Right on. Yeah, that looks cool.
Now it might not be. I don't think it may not be cool with like the younger kids, but I think it's got that nostalgic feel enough for even millennials, like older kids, anybody that grew up with Street Fighter or any of those old 2D side scrollers.
Yeah.
And it's got the art, the old school costumes and stuff like that too. Like it just feels like the 90s.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. It's got that Castlevania feel to it too.
Yeah.
Also, and I'm a huge fan of Castlevania as well.
Yeah, and it's even got that old style, 8-bit soundtrack to it. And
yeah.
Like I don't know, I'm overly stoked about this, honestly. Marvel versus Capcom and like all those games are some of my favorites. That's why I have an arcade system in my house. But like, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, it's great. Looks good.
Yeah. One last bit of news bits that I wanted to bring up. We all have been hearing about the new Harry Potter castings, right?
A little bit.
Um, well, guys, you guys remember Nick Frost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Frost has been cast as the new Hagrid in the upcoming TV series, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think he's right. He's right there, man.
Yeah, I think he's great for the part. Fits everything as far as like attitude and.
Wonder if they'll make him taller, make him giant.
Yeah, they probably will. I think they're gonna embiggen him.
I mean, it's not like they would cast shorter people or anything. What do you guys think of? You guys have all I don't know if we managed to talk about this or not, but Snow White, the new live action film, is bombing badly at the box office. Do you guys have any opinions on that?
No, I don't watch the Disney remakes. So
I've been avoiding the live action remakes.
Yeah, same here.
I feel like they're all kind of.
I find it an insult to animation. So.
Yeah. I feel that pretty much the same thing. It's an insult to the original material. Not only that, but they change it so you're alienating people that grew up with it, but you're not doing anything to create new fans, which is what they've done with all of them. The only one that I watched was Aladdin, just because I was curious. I just think it's and it wasn't good. I
did see that. I did see that one because I was on a Girl Scout field trip with my daughter. So
yeah, yes. It was a horrible idea.
You're right, Alicia. Live action Disney.
Yes, exactly. 100%. It's a stupid idea, and when you do nothing but alienate the source material and try to change it, and it's just everything. And this one, from everything I've read, being the worst of it all, I feel bad for whatever that girl. What is the girl's name that's in it?
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, I feel bad for as much flack as she's getting. I get it about the stuff that she said, and she's getting flack about that. But they're insulting like the way she looks. They say she looks like Lord Farquaad. Like, I mean, look, that's just straight. I mean, you can't put somebody down like that. That's just messed up, man. But it is kind of ridiculous that Gal Gadot is supposed to be jealous of her looks. I just find that very hard to believe.
I've said that with every iteration of live action Snow White they've done. Like, it's like, oh wait, what's her face is supposed to be, better looking than Charlize Theron? No.
Yeah,
it's like
still is not hotter than Charlize Theron. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
and then now this one is the same thing. It's like, oh wait, the Queen.
But I mean, even truthfully, look at the original animation. Like, the Queen was regal, and they drew her beautiful, and Snow White was kind of plain Jane. I mean, even in that.
Yeah.
Well.
Now we say that, but we were just talking about the Harry Potter remake, and how Nick Frost would be a good takeover for Hagrid.
I didn't say that I support the Harry Potter remake, though. I just said.
The thing is, I don't read or watch Harry Potter, so I honestly don't care.
I read them all, and I like the original movies. I don't really feel like I need to have another series already.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the point in owning a cow if you're not going to milk it?
That's true.
Right.
It's true.
I like leather.
Expand on it. Don't just rehash.
Right, and that's what I think. That's what I think. Even with these Disney live action remakes, if you want to do a live action Disney World or movie, and it's like, say you want to do it around Snow White, do it in that universe, but with different characters. Create a new fandom. Like, don't keep remaking. Like, make original characters. If you want to make a mermaid that's African American, don't remake, the Little Mermaid. Do a different mermaid in the same world.
Yeah,
Like, I
at
don't
least
need-
at least when they started with Maleficent, they were trying to make new stories.
right.
Yeah.
They weren't just remaking it. But then after that, they just gave up doing new stuff and just started remaking things. So
It's lazy, is what it is.
With Harry Potter, they're using it instead of like remaking the first movie verbatim. They're making each book into a season. That way, they can expand on the movies more and actually get more details out of the books onto the screen. Characters that we didn't get to see before, that didn't get a lot of screen time, access to rooms in the castle, more stuff with Harry back at home, all that stuff, even in the Owlry, and building relationship. Hermione would actually have some screen time in the first one where she barely shows up at all.
yeah,
That's what they're looking to do with this one, is to give not only the adults, fans that were, like disappointed at how fast and how cramped the Chris Columbus adaptations were, excited and getting to see more stuff on screen, but maybe getting a new audience involved in it, new kids involved in it that'll see that there's more to it than just the old movies,
yeah, but I can almost guarantee they don't finish all 6 seasons.
Yeah.
I seriously doubt it. And no shows go for 6 seasons anymore. So, I think they're going to get 3 in, and the ratings will be like mediocre, and then they'll just cancel it.
Please forgive my teacher wife. But I agree with her. We need to read the freaking books. Like,
those books are great.
If you're not realizing that a lot of what you're watching on the screen comes from books, and that they're better in the books, then I don't know what to tell you. Your parents are not doing their job or something. There's a library in the internet that has books. So,
Kids don't read anymore.
Nah.
As the comic book writer, I can tell you, yes.
Like, I mean, there's too many other options. That's why they don't fucking read. Like, we read constantly when we were kids. We didn't have anything else to do. There was no internet. There was no video games. Like, reading was what I would like. After playing outside all day, you come home, you'd read a book. Now the most they read are little blurbs, just like life is done in TikToks, in 1 minute intervals. Everything's at fast food society. It's not even fast food. It's a TikTok. It's even faster, and it dummies down society. My opinion, mind you.
Oh, you're not wrong.
No, you're not wrong. And it's I was so glad when my son loves reading, back in the day. And so every time he came over, he's like, "Dad, give me another book. Dad, give me another book." Because he couldn't read a lot of the stuff that I had at home. Because his mom was a little more strict than I was. So he'd come over like, "Dad, give me something good to read." And I'm like, "Here, Stephen King, here, Shadow's Game, Ender Shadow, blah blah blah. Do I hear to read this? Read that?" I was just trying to get him into everything that I read as a kid, so that I could relate at least to get him reading too.
And it's wild. You would think kids would read more because, like, literally at the touch of their hands. I mean, you can read literally any book, even stuff that we weren't able to find. Like nowadays, people talk about books being banned. There's no such thing as a banned book anymore because you're going to find it online.
Right.
Like, it's just you can find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like nobody takes advantage of that. And it's sad, but you have to be able to create that curiosity in a kid.
Book wrappers went out of business, so like we can't wrap books anymore.
But you can still use we used to use paper bags.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Paper bags.
That's how we used to make kites. Remember that?
I used to make mine.
I do prefer a physical book to a digital book any day. But if I can't find it in print, because so many books are out of print, I'll read it on a tablet in a minute. But like, it's just one thing I always taught my son when he was younger is if you're interested in something, do some research on it. Like,
Right.
even if, because I was a huge history buff in school, and you can't rely on everything you're taught because there's a lot of things that they're not allowed to teach or just simply don't have the time to teach. So you have to come home, and if it interests you, ask questions, learn. I was completely intrigued by World War II when I was a kid, and I would talk to my grandfather who served in World War II all the time. He would tell me stories, and he had a whole little library in his study, and I would just sit there and read the books over and over again. And it's amazing the stuff that you don't find in history books, because you're only able to teach so much in a class.
Right. You have to teach within the curriculum.
Right.
If you want to learn more, then you have to go outside and learn more. And that's what I would always try to tell my kid, the same thing, in that don't just research the project. Don't just look at the project at one-sided. Like, research both sides, see what the both arguments are, and then come to your own conclusion. About any topic. Just make sure you're developing your own conclusion based on research of both sides of the argument. And that's the only way it's going to happen. Same with comic books and movies and all that stuff. You can't complain about a movie or a book if you didn't watch it. Yeah.
True. That's why I watch everything, so I can complain.
Right? That's why I only come here, so I can complain about the movies you guys watch. And
I am the weirdest especially when it comes to movies. The worse the movie is, the more I love it. And I don't mean bad movies like, I don't know, like I'm assuming the Snow White is. I don't mean a bad movie like that. I mean a bad movie like the one I'm watching tonight, which is Peter Pan. What is it? The Nightmare something. Nightmare Land. Like Fall into Nightmare Land. It's part of the Pooniverse and that whole thing that company's putting together.
Yeah. I was to
I
say.
love those movies.
I haven't seen those yet.
You've been watching all the Popeyes and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah. If it's intentionally bad, I absolutely love it.
I can empathize with that to some degree. I also am a fan of bad,
especially when it comes to horror movies.
Yeah, I'll watch pretty much any horror film, no matter how bad, and if it's really bad, you'll get my attention in a good way. I'll be like, oh, all right, good.
Sometimes I just watched this movie it's a German movie, I think it was, and it was on what did Thriller used to be? Shudder? Was it Shudder before or something like that?
It's Shudder now, I think.
Now, yeah.
Okay, so it used to be Thriller or whatever, whatever it was called before that. So it was put out by them.
No, it was Shudder before. I thought it's Thriller now, or Triller or whatever.
Shudder's still going. Yeah,
Joe Bob.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, it's a German zombie movie called Yummy, and the tagline is it says something like broads, boobs, and zombies. I'm like, well, I gotta watch this.
Yes.
And you would think it would be like an 80s style, like cheesy, gratuitous. No, it's just actually a pretty good zombie movie.
I've heard of Yummy. It was on one of those lists that you catch on YouTube. It's like top 10 movies that are actually really good that you've never heard.
Yeah, it's surprisingly like it. I mean, there is that comedy aspect to it. There is some gratuitous parts of it, but it's not overly like 80s style. It's like I was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed the film.
Nice.
Well, you
I'll look out for that.
Let us know what you think of the film after you watch it. But we're nearing our 1 hour time, which means it's getting time to wrap up for us. Some of our old guys are actually aging on screen as we look at them. So,
aren't we all old guys?
Aren't we literally aging in front of the camera?
Joey's the youngest.
Yeah, I'm no spring chicken.
Well, it is spring now, isn't it? Officially,
it is.
I'm not if you go outside.
Summer. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you want to find out where Richard's going to be up to this weekend, he's going to be a busy boy over on the SKN Shadow Nose Network. So head over there on YouTube and see all the craziness what they got going over there with Toylanta and all the things that they have. Forbidden Panel, we're chugging along as usual. Just please keep checking us out, all the social media websites. I know we got some cool announcements coming up real soon, some new projects coming up, and as well as a couple of unboxings that we're going to be filming soon. So be excited for that. Until then, thank you for the guys that joined.
When do we get to see the giant dragon?
When does that come out? June, doesn't it?
I believe it's like June or July. So
All right, cool.
There's in fact we might actually do the first episode of Forbidden Layers wrapped around that dragon. Who knows? It depends if I have a car or not by then, but we'll find out. But everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight, and I want to thank everybody out there, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Goodbye.
Later, guys.
late.
Beware of loud music starting right around.
You were lying about that.